Hi folks, so we are back with the 8 Regents and this is game 2 of Baratheon against Night's Watch, and we have Sam playing Night's Watch trading with Qohor against Peter playing Baratheon the Regents of Castamere. Now this could be interesting. Qohor without a banner, so no alliance, with just the Night's Watch attachments, but this is a deck that I've seen before. I've seen one with Core Jon Snow that just spams a bunch of small characters, and then Jon participates in every challenge with Long Claw and Lord Commander, stuff like that. But could be something else, of course, and the Baratheons should be smugglers. Yeah, hopefully my connection stays alright today. Keep getting disconnected for some reason, but we'll just cut that out if there are any connection problems. So okay, so we have Sam Tarly and Gran, and 2 attachments to start with. We have Long Claw and we have Minor Speakers. Now whether Long Claw is on the correct character is questionable, but it can be traded. And we have Kurane here without a warship currently, and Silisi, who can spread some intrigue icons around. Pentoshi against the Maiden. Pentoshi wins initiative and Peter goes first. Now let's see. Anything big coming into play, or maybe a location? Smugglers usually do play the 5-cost Saldor Sun. He's a little sad here with no locations on the other side. Sniper Mel with a Warhammer, and Gran, yeah, moves power to characters, which is dangerous against Sniper Mel, so this is an interesting interaction. And 2 gold left. Useful dupe. And a Craven here for Melisandre. Feast of the First Man. Okay, that's something that works with the Rangers. And I would assume the big army is in the deck. I can grab this location. And with this gold, pretty much Sam has managed to marshal the entire hand here and gets the fresh recruits to search for 3 additional characters. Has the King's Road, could even play one, assuming it doesn't get cancelled. Okay, what do we have? We have Jon Snow, the core one. Like I said, we have great ranging, and we have Halder, which should be very useful against trains as well. And Kurane with no warship, although there is one, of course, with ambush, the Valyrian. Now the King's Road spent here, and no economy, so great ranging and Jon Snow in hand means that Sam will need to play some kind of economy plot next round. Yeah, defending this one. Just in case he is the only defender and 5 is, of course, that sweet spot for something like a put to the sword here, so no reason to risk that. And Gran does nothing on defense. Now is there any use doing an intrigue challenge here with Lissy? Seems like Sam can defend this and gain a card for insight with the second Halder trigger. Ah, here comes Nightmares. And hitting the Great Ranging, which is nice. Jon Snow perhaps even better. And I think this should be it. Melisandre will defend against the Hob. And Halder can potentially get his unopposed power. Now, is there something to be done with the Qohor trigger? So we have minor speaks, which of course can be swapped out, and we have a milk on Korane. And the other attachments in play currently are Craven, which is probably not going away, and then a Long Claw. On the wrong character really, because he can only do one challenge. So definitely seems like it's a better start for Night's Watch here. Okay, so Jon Snow is in hand and Great Ranging was discarded. What was the other card for fresh recruits? Was it... oh, it was Halder, so he's already on the board. Okay, so Jon Snow playable with the reducer, basically with any plot. And that's where the quick power gain can start, I guess, for Sam. Exchange of information to get some more cards, makes sense. And we have supporting the faith, reasonably high gold, and stops anything weird happening in the challenges phase. And again, Peter goes first here. bit late with the ship. Would be nice to kneel Jon Snow. And what else do we have? So we have a dupe. Dangerous to give him a dupe, I guess, with the prospect of Morghulis and cancel and the bodyguard. Although, do you even want to save these two characters at this point, because they do have the terminal attachments, and without those attachments, of course, the position of the Night's Watch deck here is not that great. Valyrian Screw, another card you don't see every day, so this can steal some cards, relies on luck a little bit, and it can take attachment, so you can milk this or put a Craven on it. Right, does nothing. If there is a location that's particularly annoying, I guess the action could be used, but I think the main reason it's in this deck is simply to be used with Khorane. And here we have Jon Snow, so just to remind ourselves, while he is standing, he will participate in any challenge in which there is another attacking Night's Watch character, so basically leaving Calder and Gren will allow Sam to do challenges here with an additional 4 strength, and then Jon really needs that long claw or some other way to gain renown. And he is not a lord, so he cannot get a bodyguard with Qohor. But I would expect this deck, of course, to be playing Maester Aemon, maybe even here to serve, to search for him, or certainly some other counters to Morghulis in the plot phase. Return to the fields or to Harris. Now, is it worth attacking, is the question. It is if he can do a Reigns trigger, which I'm sure he will attempt. And you don't want to kneel Jon, so it's 2 on defense plus any kind of harder trigger. And Jon is started anyway. So Reigns should happen. This is actually a really important card here as well. Isle of Ravens. Can shuffle back any attachments to be reused with Qohor. So Hope defends it. Now let's see. Wildfire Assault is definitely in the plot deck. Could be Filthy Accusations to kneel Jon or Gren. Game of Thrones is not going to work. And we have a mystery card. And let's see. The race trigger, so is it going to be Wildfire? Jon likes a big board, so it is a counter to him, but in this particular round, slightly dangerous, so I assume it leaves Korane, Melisandre and Valyrian Screw, or maybe Celici, depending on what the card is. Against Jon, Gren and Halder. And no military icon to follow this up with a military challenge. And hitting a character, which is as good as anything at this point. Yeah, so Sam's turn next, and now we'll see, I guess, what this deck can do. Not entirely sure, so we have Longclaw already in play. That's the highest cost, 2 cost attachment, and we have 1 cost Craven and Milk of the Poppy. I'm guessing the 3 cost attachments possibly are Seal of the Hand and Lord Commander. I think that's 3 cost, is it? Although this Jon is of course not a lord, so it's not going to work on him. And we saw Miner's Picks, so that can always be swapped back towards the end of challenges to gain you some gold the following round. This so one challenge will be pushed through. Here the power one not defended, and then its military is going to be 8 and no defenders, and then Jon has 4 against 5, but of course Halder has the 3 locations and attachments he can use, so no way to stop anything here for Peter. Now let's see if anything else happens. Yeah, fair enough. This does take some practice, this agenda. Of course, you need to know exactly what your options are before sacrificing an attachment. And not that many options. He's kind of stuck with the negative attachments because these 2 characters would do a lot of damage, and they need to be controlled. So really only has that long claw that he can trade. Unopposed military, and helps a bit that there is no power to steal here. So this could have gone quite quickly from this point, but there is no power claim and no power for Gren, so Peter still has some time. And here comes Jon, so this one should be defended. And the Halder trigger. And not shuffling the attachment back, goes for fresh recruits, which makes me think that maybe he doesn't really have many characters in hand. And good call earlier to defend against the put to the sword. And good hit as well, because he could have been hit with this again next round if Peter goes first and does the military with the two characters. Yeah, maybe it could have been done. Five power. And now, is there anything useful in the plot deck? Toshian exchange we had in the first two rounds. March to the wall. Okay, that's kind of unpleasant for Sam. Halder was doing good work, and these two kind of indispensable. You could risk Jon Snow, I suppose. We'll see. And Bran the Builder to search for locations. And here comes Craven goes away. That's one less attachment to use with the Qohor triggers, and Warhammer back to hand. And now it's 3-3 as far as cards in hand, but Valyrian Screw has an extra card. Could be something like Halder even. Let's just see the text again. So, marshal or play, as if it were in your hand. So you can even play it as an event outside of the marshalling phase. Fortunately, not quite enough gold to do anything really major here. But then Sam doesn't have much either. Wily Smuggler. It's one to be used with Salador's son. He can protect the intrigue claim a little bit. And now we have Warhammer on a big character, so Valyrian Screw now does have Intimidate. Hopefully won't get Cravened. One in the discard pile, and of course Isle of Ravens can shuffle it back. And 3 gold left, so still keeping some threat. I assume he has something in hand to use that 3 gold for in the marshalling phase, so it would be really unlucky if these were 4 non-characters that couldn't be played or something like that. So I'm guessing he probably left gold intentionally because he has some answers. Okay, and we have Crester, an intrigue icon. No power icons on the board now at the moment. Possibly in the deck, of course, Noble Lineage. And Crester can I guess use his ability if something really unexpected happens. Now, let's have a look at the range situation. So this time, it's possible to defend against it if he really wants to. And I wonder if there's anything else in the plot deck that could be used. Maybe the pointy end to use on Gren is not a bad choice. Oh, and of course, I always forget stealth for some reason, so he can win this one. He can do a range trigger and has some intimidate, maybe for Gren, which leaves the two intrigue icons. And an extra card for Valyrian's crew. Now anything else? With that 3 gold in this challenge. Power behind the throne. That will stand the intimidate character. And the wall. Okay, I wasn't expecting the wall in deck with Qohor Jon. That's interesting. Now I wonder if Sam will manage to trigger the plot here. So one character intimidated and then the Valyrian crew can stand, intimidate something else, but still leaves one standing to do the intrigue challenge. And now, if he has put to the sword to use on Craster, and then military claim, this is a problem for Sam, and we could see the game start to turn around a little bit. Lost connection. Okay, so that's the part we cut out. And in the meantime, we can try to guess if put to the sword is coming. We're still in the reaction window. Okay, and we are back. Let's see what happened. So there was a put to the sword used on Jon Snow, not on Craster, and a put to the torch in the same challenge to get rid of Fist of the First Man. Now Gren taken for claim. He had a duplicate, but that of course does expose him to a reset. And we have Intimidate on Craster. And then Craster of course sacks himself to put Jon Snow back in. Yeah, I think that was the play to kill Craster. And now the power challenge, of course, nothing to do against that. And we have Jon coming back with an intrigue challenge, which of course lets him trigger Bran the Builder and lets him trigger the agenda. And he has a milk and a long claw to trade, and I don't want to trade a 2 cost attachment for a 1 cost, but it would be really nice to get a Craven on this guy. That's causing a lot of problems. And Milk, yeah, not one to trade away, I don't think, because then Corona can just use his warship and himself to kneel Jon and Gren. So let's see. Yeah, shuffling Craven back. And let's see if he uses it here. Now here is where, of course, Wily Smuggler can pick a card that you want to lose. 2 cards in hand, so he can put one on the top of the deck, and you draw it back in dominance. And Peter does that. Missed on Bran the Builder. Yeah, that's unfortunate. There's a few in the discard pile, but not that many. And 10 of the 38, you would expect to get something. I wonder what the plan is with this. So we saw the wall, and this is not, these are attacking characters, so they're not usually defending the wall, but maybe that's that can be an interesting backup plan. And here we have the Renown coming off and locking Valyrian's crew, and now Peter kind of needs to keep the crew, I think, in play because it gives him 3 extra cards. Now these may not be useful, of course. It could be something that he cannot theoretically use because it only works in Night's Watch. But it could be decent enough. It could just be something like a Halder that can always just be played as an extra character. Let's see. Getting disconnected again, annoying. And we're back. Sorry about that. Can't be helped. Seem to have a lot of connection problems. So what did we miss? So Dominance Tide, and then we are into the plot phase. Late Summer Feast, going for the gold with, of course, additional cards from Valyrian's crew now available against Time of Plenty, yet another source of draw. And Peter manages to marshal Qohor in half hand. 5 strength, so he can kill something non-unique with lower strength. And we have the galley that can be used on anything, including Qorin. And we have a seized on Wraith. Now this, I'm guessing, is one that will be traded with the Qohor trigger at the first opportunity, since it's not actually doing anything. And also Ranging Party. Marshaled, leaving 1 card on Valyrian's crew. Yeah, definitely taking control of the board now. But yeah, Sam has the 3 icons now with the standing Jon Snow, of course, so he can do his challenges, or try to. And then we'll see what happens with his agenda. Definitely could be in trouble if he leaves himself exposed, for instance, to Qorin killing Ranging Party. Let me just read this again. I assume this can happen. Yeah, it can happen. And then he has to take claim soak as well. It's not going to be pleasant. And this guy cannot take a milk or a craven. So the attachment situation now, we only have one costers. We have a craven here, which is, I'm guessing, going to stay, and we have a seized with no gold invested, so this should be traded. Just defending with the smuggler. And now there is no way to get renown on Jon Snow. This is where the costs, of course, are important, and some decks can have a decent range, have some 3-cost attachments, some 1-cost attachments, and if you sequence it correctly, it can work, but it's always something that can hold you back if you don't get attachments in the right order. Now Craven goes on the other intrigue icon. I guess stops Peter flipping out of the Late Summer Feast, which is decent enough. Yeah, and I've also seen and even played a deck before that uses attachments of 1 cost. So my Lannister alliance that I played a lot with Qohor and Banner stack had about, I think, 17 attachments that were all cost 1, so you could always swap any attachments in your deck for any other, and that yeah, had its own advantages, but of course it limits the number of attachments you can include, and it's not an option for this deck because you need the renown giving one, and of course you need the cravens, you need the milks here. Okay, so Gren is going to try to take some power back. And if the Craven characters defend, this doesn't seem possible, although they are a deterrent to Jon Snow doing intrigue here. Yeah, no time limit on this one. I wonder if they forgot or if they agreed. You have an option to agree with your opponent not to use a time limit. Yeah, I think this game has been going on for more than 45 minutes. And still neither player particularly close to winning, although that could change now. When I was going to say Gren takes some more power, but yeah, choosing to defend this one, which makes a lot of sense. But he cannot defend intrigue, and that of course gives Sam some card advantage here. He got one for Late Summer Feast, and he's about to get 2 more, I think, when it's Peter's turn. And Peter losing 1 here for the intrigue claim, although still has that wily smuggler to do the same trick he did last round. And now it's even possible, I think, to trade one of these because these characters are already knelt. Getting seized back on the galley, is it? That stops Corin gaining enough strength to kill a ranging party, I think. But there is an action window, so I think Peter possibly missing a trick here. Yeah, should have used that on Corin. And even enough gold to bestow it and leave it for next round to be traded with the agenda. Yeah, in the meantime we can discuss a little bit so what is about to happen. We have a military challenge that will kill one of the characters. So with Lyseni Galley he could have killed the ranging party and then forced Jon Snow's dupe away. But still not too bad. And then the power challenge, and Corin has renown, so let's see. 2 unopposed gets him to 5, renown gets him to 6, and power claim to 7, so should be 7-6. And we'll have 6 cards in Sam's hand, and Peter will be getting his 1 back for the smuggler, so 2 cards. Definitely winning on the board. And then I think Korane is then of course free of his milk, so he can be used to kneel himself and, for instance, the galley that is now seized or wraith, and just get rid of Jon Snow for next round. So things are looking up for Peter, but he has given a lot of cards away with Lightsummer Fist not being able to he wasn't able to flip out of it with Reigns. Then it depends, of course, what his other plots are. Using 2 high economy plots, so I'm guessing he doesn't have any more. But if he did, he could even use the King's Gate, of course, after he gets the 5th power to get a few more cards, make sure he stays ahead. There is still one also on this Valyrian Screw, but I think it's been there for most of the game, so maybe that's one that is not usable. Second march would be devastating. 3 plots left. And I suspect Morghulis is one of them, which he will probably try to delay now that he has taken control. And he's pretty immune to a reset here, because Morghulis from Sam's side leaves him with just the 2 gold, no claim, and Jon Snow against Korane, who is unmilked. That's not gonna be a good deal for him, I don't think. Now let's see, does he use the King's Gate or not? And he does, so he must have some gold available. And that gets him to 3 cards plus the smuggler draw. Interesting economy. So we have ports, we have King's Roads to get some tempo, but then we also have King's Gate and the Jade Drummond, which are much slower. I'm always tempted recently, of course, to also play King's Landing with the gates, but takes a lot of a lot of deck space to be able to play King's Landing, the Infection Gate location, and also possibly City Gates. Okay, and Kurana used before any milks come in or anything like that to just kneel Jon Snow, which makes sense. And Sam happy to pick his plot pretty quickly. Peter having to think about it. Mad King's Command wins initiative, and that levels the board pretty nicely. Close Call can take Silici and grab an extra card, and then let's see. So do you need to select these? Yeah, you do. So he has 3 attachments in play currently, 3 locations and 5 characters. And Sam has, he should be able to get an extra character, and then he has Seized and the 2 Cravens and just 1 location. So definitely works in his favor, but only 3 gold, so he needs an impactful character to even survive this. Okay, Maester Aemon can use his ability, potentially, or defend, so that the power doesn't get out of control. And then he is set for surviving any kind of Morghulis that I think both players might be forced to play in the last 2 rounds before they get their plots back. But lots of cards going away here. Now, let's see, the Smuggler at the end of the phase, yeah, so he can't get around Mad King's Command, unfortunately. And this is nice, putting some economy on, and now Seized is going away, so that's 1 last attachment to be traded with Qohor. Assuming he doesn't choose the galley. And Corin gets a Warhammer, which gives him Intimidate. And that probably means that he will choose Corin to stay in play. Yeah, he could do a lot of damage, I think, here, Peter, by not choosing the 2 characters that have Cravens. Just for instance, the 2 Night Watch characters that he has and the Smuggler, or whatever else comes into play now. He still has 5 gold, which he carries into the challenges phase. Yeah, I would be tempted to lose the 2 characters that are Craven and the location with Seized. That would leave nothing to do with the Qohor trigger. And Gren could be defended against. On the other hand, a duped character with Morghulis coming from both sides potentially. This is guesswork, of course. It's difficult to lose that one. And he's doing some work, to be fair, so he can keep Jon Nelt indefinitely. Yeah. Looks like we're all having problems. So, good job that there isn't a time limit. I think it would expire maybe at the end of the previous round. And if not, definitely this round. So, looks like Peter would have won that, but I think he has a good chance anyway. So what does he keep? He keeps Korane, he keeps Corin and the ranging party, so that's very sensible. But he won't be keeping, I don't think he will be keeping the galley, so only one Craven will survive for Sam to trade with the agenda, and now he has the Isle of Ravens Nelt, and we have a milk in the discard pile already, and Longclaw in the miner's pick, so should be still some targets in the deck. Choosing the 3 Warhammers, and here comes the location choice, I think, of Wraith and the 2 economy locations. And 5 gold left with 5 cards in hand, and Warhammer coming back, so 6 cards in hand. I wonder if there is anything he can do with that gold here. Now, of course, it will be down to 3 cards first for the Mad King's command. Yeah, no surprises. I think Peter has the cards in hand already chosen in his mind, probably, since he has 5 gold and some standing economy, so he, I'm guessing, made a plan already. But Sam has a tougher job here because 7 cards are a lot, so he needs to make a plan for the following round, what the 3 most important cards are. But at least currently looks like he should be able to protect them. No intrigue icons on the other side. And he does have aim on if he wants to do intrigue, but he might also need to use his ability, we'll see. Yeah, past 4 AM now for me, so a bit sleepy, but looks like we still have some way to go. And I'm confident that Peter would win this if he wasn't forced to reveal the last 2 plots that may work against him. This way, there could still be a surprise or 2. And now picking the order in which cards go on the bottom of the deck, which most of the time makes no difference. Especially not for Sam, of course. He has the shuffle here with the Isle of Ravens and the agenda. Yeah, you have to click through something like 10 cards to choose the order, and if you get a few seconds lag after every card, it takes forever to do this. It is unfortunate, but happens sometimes. And now losing Peter as well. Yeah, this is something to cut out, I think, of the final recording. And here we go. Okay. Yeah, and this deal, unfortunately, did not go that well for Sam. So, yeah, they reduced the board. Peter was in a great position, but still, just with 3 on 3, still doing a lot better. And now I think Gran will do the challenge to force someone to defend. Or maybe do you leave this one and no, you don't take the top at this point. Too risky, and the Qohor trigger as well. So I think ranging party defends this one, and then Corin does either intrigue or power or military, whichever is the most important. One of the cards in hand is Warhammer, and I'm hoping here that Peter has something else he can do with the 5 gold. Obviously I am biased in favor of Baratheon here, since they are my team. Using Corin on defense, even though he has the Warhammer. And now the question is here, is it worth doing the intrigue challenge? You get the Qohor trigger, presumably, but you can't then use Aemon, and I'm sure Peter would be tempted to do military in that case instead of the power challenge. Yeah, not doing that. And now, since Aemon will just use his ability, if he has nothing in hand, thinking of City Watch every time I see Baratheon with gold in the challenges phase, but of course no one seriously plays that. So if there is nothing in hand that could allow him to do 2 challenges, I think power is the one you do here. Unopposed power and dominance should get him to 11. Any more tricks? So we already saw exchange here. Just thinking if anyone wants to play you win or you die here. Exchange is of course restricted, and I don't think we've seen a restricted card for Night's Watch, so there could be you win or you die. So no tricks, and as first player he could use the Isle of Ravens here, otherwise I think it's going to Korane, possibly kneeling Jon Snow, and the Isle of Ravens, yeah. Well, if Morghulis gets played, he could also kneel Maester Aemon. But no, so if he has Morghulis, which I'm not sure about, I'm speculating, he, I think, will leave it for the last plot, try to win before that. and if Sam plays it, he could play it here. But then he has no gold to re-establish a board, and he relies on some luck that there is nothing useful in hand, but the odds of that, 5 cards basically before the Mad Kicks command triggered, so keeping 3 best ones plus the Warhammer. There should be a character in there. Okay, another Mad Kicks command, and this time, yeah, allows Peter to go first, which is nice, but not doing anything great apart from that. And Morghulis on the other side keeps Jon Snow and Gran alive. And takes 2 power off from Corin. Yeah, well, that's usually it's not a bad idea because you can play bodyguards, but Night's Watch has a lack of lords and ladies for sure, so you can't protect it that way, but there is Aemon. And now let's see, 3 gold and 2 economy locations. Sales would be a good one, I think. Yes, Red Priest. We'll take a look at the hand and get rid of anything that could be playable with 2 gold, I think. And then 2 gold left for Peter, so not much he can do. Maybe one of these Dragonstone Faithfuls would be as good as anything. Certainly something with the power icon. Otherwise he could just do a Warhammer. So that makes me think there are no characters that can be played this round, and just getting rid of the attachment. Yeah, Halder's still alive. He was marched, I think, but no gold to play him. And the bad news is there doesn't seem to be a power icon for Peter. Oh, is there another Warhammer that could get him to the Reigns trigger? Yeah. Well, the other option is just to do military. 2 characters makes sense, but maybe there is something with Reigns. Oh, okay, my bad. So we did have enough gold for Halder, so that was a bad pick here for Peter. Could have taken the King's Road or Halder and prevented this. And there is an attachment that can be used. Now, intrigue into Varys' riddle to kill everything. Depends on the last plot, I guess. If it's Valar Morghulis anyway, then it's pointless to do it, but that would be interesting. Or he can do military, and then it's Tough choice, has to probably lose Jon Snow here, keep the power icon. But yeah, Gran and Halder can do 2 challenges, and Gran can even use his ability while there is no claim. To another attacking character, yeah, so that won't even work. Works on bigger boards. And how many Rain's plots? Still 3. So could be Game of Thrones, could be Varys' riddle, could be filthy accusations. I guess the Red Wedding, the pointy end. Still getting through the plot again. Even though this time there's no choices really to be made. Yeah, not great to be forced to reveal Mad King's command while you only have 2 characters in play. But still has the upper hand and has that first challenge. Yeah. So last plot is what it is, and then we have both players still have the option of replaying the Mad King's command. We have some draw, some decent gold with a player with absolutely no economy. Had a couple of King's Roads, no underground vaults. And let's see Peter. Oh, lots of economy if there's something useful in hand. Marched could be good if he keeps the pressure on, and of course exchange. So he's in a decent spot when the plots turn around, and they should. Now that crossing the Qohor deck is not going to be gaining any quick power. Okay, so he's gone for the intrigue. Now, is that with the intention of triggering Grains, or just get the challenge through to get rid of a card? Sneak attack. I don't think that's in any Reigns decks, but Game of Thrones, okay. That gets rid of a card and stops Sam doing anything this round. There goes the ball again. This was not getting played and was not going to do any useful work, whatever happened. Yeah. Yeah, so I was saying delay Morghulis for plot 7 because he was doing well, but now it does work in his favor if he has it, of course, because I'm sure this is a known character or something expensive, and these 3 cleared away. Aemon already dead, so no here to serve, and Red Priest just bringing Miner's Peak back in, which does nothing, so 3 cards on the other side should be favorable. Yeah, think it's a small minority of people who would like at the gates back. That was a giant bore as far as the opening minigame. Well, there was no opening minigame, you had to play at the gates and then the city plotline, most likely. And even the Maiden, which has a really nice ability, wasn't winning that battle. But it can happen. That's true, it can happen that you get screwed with economy. Stuck with nothing basically. I guess this deck plays, so we saw the King's Roads and we saw the Miners picks which were in play at some point. There's one. But yeah, Qohor needs to do a lot of triggers to have them in marshalling and then swap in challenges for something else and then swap back before we get to the next marshalling phase. Kneeling Jon Snow and Isle of Ravens again, and we have that Morghulis into draw, which is as good as anything. It will be just 3 gold of course, but getting some cards. And if there is a military icon, the pressure now comes from the other side. And here comes the set of Warhammers back. Okay, 3 underground vaults revealed now. That seems to be the only 3 locations here. We have Lay Waste as the event and Fresh Recruit, so I don't think he'll be adding fresh recruits here. And characters, Jon Snow already dead, so should be him. And what do we have for attachments? We have Practice Blade, we have Ranger's Bow. So all in all, this is not doing anything great. Okay, but at least economy should be decent. Although Underground Vault, one of the most reliable of these 2 cost limited locations, almost always seems to get, and the 2 gold will only be getting 1 gold back this round, because Morghulis of course is a low gold plot. Yeah, as expected. But hopefully from Sam's perspective he's top decked something nicer. Okay. Hopefully serves him better next round. There we go, sales would have been very nice a few rounds ago to restand Kurane, although there was only 1 warship. Gets a Warhammer, he could get, or they could get 2, even like the Red Priest did, to flip out of Morghulis, get some claim. And now if he has Varys' riddle, that's a different story. So Game of Thrones, Whitehead Assault, power behind the throne. Varys' riddle and the pointy end. Possibility. Although filthy accusations is very common. And also forgotten plans, sometimes in decks, and even the Red Wedding. And whatever it is, it's coming. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. If it's Varys' riddle, it's coming. The others are useless. Spider's web also sometimes in that can be used because there is only one attacker. Look at this stand itself. It can. Okay, so at least in theory, Spider's web would also work. Could stand itself and attack again. Get rid of some more cards. And yeah, that was towards the bottom of my list of possibilities, but here we go. He does have it. Okay, so that changes claim to 1, of course, for this challenge, and he can do another one. And Live West was usable. Yeah, lots of nice little tricks in this deck. Certainly something unique. And yeah, happy to take that extra copy of Reigns for our team after we traded one to Stark. Definitely did some good work in this game. And looks like Peter will close it soon. Now that's going to take another 2 cards. We know that some of them are pretty useless. Hitting something that is still alive would be pretty good, but hits the 2 attachments, okay. Not bad. Now the question I have here, let's see. Kneel and sacrifice, right, to choose a kneel location. So this could be used, I think. Well, maybe wait until see what the plots are, but worth considering just using this to kneel underground vault. That's the only economy Sam has. He's been struggling all game, so kneeling that with the one-time trigger would be an option. And here we go. Not wasting any time, just doing it in the standing phase. Yeah, I suspect this was not not the intention at all, but just that kind of game that the situation presented itself. Throwing away a playable character. Which means the other cards must also be decent. Yeah, Sam just going for the highest goal plot I think he could find here. And similar with Peter. So 9, that's going to be 11 gold. And yeah, Sam has to go first just to, I think, if nothing else, to stop red priests taking useful cards. One hour, 45 minutes. Yeah, that was a good call to nil the economy, and yeah, drawing nothing here was Sam, and to be fair, he was a little bit unlucky with that exchange as well. Basically getting no useful cards, and all the attachments do need characters to be on the board to do anything with them. So yeah, still on that 5 power. Basically was going up and down a little bit, but he got that 5-0 very early in the game, and then suddenly hit a wall and couldn't really push anything else through. But yeah, certainly a grind here, and should be slightly quicker with editing out the connection problems. But if you've watched the whole thing, congratulations to you, and hopefully you had some fun. Certainly a well-deserved win for Baratheon, and an impressive game here from Peter. And that gives us our second win here. So Baratheon takes a 2-0 lead against Night's Watch in round 2 of the 8 Regents tournament. And if you want to see the other games, you can check the ones that were recorded on my channel. Thanks for joining me.